Yeah, today we're going to talk about John Locke, the guy everybody's heard about, but never can quite remember what he did. And we found a match. So, John Locke, your run-of-the-mill um, 17th century philosopher. Standard opening here in chess. We're just going to do this. He wrote two treatises because the first one was rubbish. No, the first one was fine, but it focused on different things. A little bit of history for you guys. The first treatise was actually written in response to another guy, which was mainly an argument for the theory of divine right, which argued that no, the king's proper role is to rule over a country. This country being England at the time. Now, famously, if you know anything about John Locke, you know the social contract theory, which is that we all agree to live in a government, and that government, and we agree to live in a community, and that community decides to form a government, and the community is that government, and we form a contract. Ooh, I'm rusty here on the chess. Way down on time. See if I can finish this up. We're just gonna. This is stupid. We're gonna resign. As you can see, he already said good game. Yikes, what a sassy player. Anyway, theory of social contract. This guy didn't want to play me. This guy still doesn't want to play me. This theory of social contract. Let's see the aborts again. Can we find somebody else? Estepasana and abort. Okay, well, I'm going to keep talking anyway. Theory of social contract is basically what the entire infrastructure of the United States government is based around. John Locke had a huge influence on the United States founding fathers. And, of course, Jefferson. Man, it's just the same guy every time. But anyway, of course, Jefferson, Adams, Washington, Hamilton will all acknowledge as John Locke as being a big guy behind their philosophical thrust in creating the U.S. Constitution, which was actually a pretty radical thought at that time, that a constitution basically is just an idea that nobody can be above the law, which was kind of a novel concept at the time. And generally, the law was thought to apply to denizens of any country and parliament. For instance, they're talking about the United Kingdom, but not applied to the king. Just the same guy every time. Every time, same guy. Same guy. Well, sorry this is so boring. I was watching abort. Along with the social contract theory, John Locke is also famous for championing the ideas of property, specifically private property, and that a robust society and economy are based around a community that acknowledges or recognizes an individual's right to acquire private property. Come on, man. Play a match. There's nobody else on here. Why not? We're gonna message him. Nope, still nothing. So let's take another look at Try another match here. Also, a famous um, point made in every single Western history class or Western civilization class you take in high school or college is the difference between Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. Um, Specifically, their ideas on human nature. John Locke's ideas being that human nature is generally good, and therefore social contract theory works, and that a group of individuals can come together and form a community and work for the benefit of everyone, and everybody's jolly good. Thomas Hobbes disagreed. He thought, actually, no, the humans generally are awful by nature and will stab each other in the back, and you need a strong head ruler that can't be opposed. Not so much really that he got off on tyrants, but that he thought a strong ruler was necessary for the stability of society. That without a strong ruler, society kind of runs amok, either through frivolous bureaucracy or everybody just doing what they want without working together. Ooh, we finally found somebody else here. I think he's going to push this pawn forward. Now, a little bit of historical context, which is rarely talked about in this case, is the fact that, I'm just going to do this. Thomas Hobbes was writing a little bit earlier. He wrote the book Leviathan. Then, wow, I just sacked that bishop. A little earlier than John Locke was writing. Thomas Hobbes wrote during, wow, I'm getting too into talking about John Locke. Thomas Hobbes wrote during the English Civil War, which was particularly bloody and awful. That's when Oliver Cromwell famously went around rounding up people and killing them because he thought they weren't Protestant enough. And in fact, when King Charles II was beheaded. And so, of course, obviously, his ideas on human nature were shaped by him living through the English Civil War. Now, John Locke, on the other hand, lived through what's called the Glorious Revolution, which saw William of Orange, who was from the Netherlands, which was called the United Dutch Provinces at the time, which saw William of Orange come in and invade the United Kingdom and overthrow the king at that time, who was Catholic, in a pretty successful bloodless coup. This is just awful. I'm just rubbish at playing at chess when I talk about anything. Anyway, he lived through that time when there was a pretty successful non-bloody coup. And he basically saw William of Orange as championing the people's ideas of how government should be run. Namely, that it should be a Protestant government and not a Catholic government. But we today, with rose-colored glasses, like to substitute democracy for Protestantism and tyranny for Catholicism. Anyway, given that fact, you can see, because of the bloodless coup, John Locke might have a more amiable opinion of human nature. Not a lot of chess. I guess lastly I should talk about John Locke's ideas, theories of natural rights. which correlates with the social contract theory, and that it doesn't really matter what the king says. There are certain rights that every human is born with, although he would have said was given by God. God. This guy again, he's not going to play me. He's worried. He knows he's on chess philosophy. Anyway, that John Locke subscribed to the idea that every individual has certain natural and inalienable rights, which would of course be later quoted in the Declaration of Independence and solidified in the Bill of Rights. But he was really the first big proponent of that philosophical idea, which of course later became the cornerstone of all democracies. Come on, bro. No chess. Watch John Locke in this episode. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can get in one more game here and I'll just commentate on the game. Interesting enough, though, people do glance over that John Locke did have some quite socialist ideas, and that he believed in private property, but only to an extent. It's kind of a limited accumulation of wealth. You couldn't corner something, so you could own one apple tree. You could buy an apple tree, but you can't buy all the apple trees to the extent that it has a negative direct impact on the other citizens of that community. And then that because as you bought all the apple trees, you of course surely couldn't pick all the apples from all these apple trees yourself. And so thus they should revert back to the people as kind of community apple trees, which is kind of an early proto-socialist idea. Okay, we have a match. Here we go. And we're just gonna go for it here. And he wants it. Put a castle here. Big old push here. I'm gonna do this. Let's get this rook out here. Yikes. Yep. To be expected. We're just gonna gun it even some more. Oh, that's annoying. Yikes, I got nowhere to go. But back here. The rook up, way down on time. And I sacked the queen. Wow, that was lame. What about this? Jeez. Annoying. How annoying can you get, right? Well, at least hopefully you guys learned some stuff about John Locke.